Hey everyone, welcome back. It's time for another deep dive. And today, we're tackling something that I think a lot of people struggle with, especially in the workplace, but it can really apply to any area of life. And that's lean management.
Sounds intriguing.
It is. It
Yeah.
really is. We'll be looking at this awesome guide from 12Mprove. They're like the go-to experts for lean training and coaching. And their guide is all about, working smarter, not harder. Who doesn't want that, right?
Sign me up.
I know, right? So we've got some amazing insights coming your way.
Yeah.
And to make things even better, we have the authors of the guide themselves, Remco Rovers and Robert Zeiger. They're also the brains behind 12Mprove. So,
Oh,
we're getting it straight from the source.
that's fantastic. I'm excited to hear what they have to say.
Me too. So let's jump right in. I think a good place to start is by addressing those common workplace frustrations. Feeling overwhelmed like you're constantly putting out fires and never quite getting ahead.
Oh, yeah. I think we've all been there. It's like you're on a treadmill just trying to keep up.
Exactly. And this guide actually points out that those experiences are incredibly common. It's not just you. It's a lot of people feeling that same pressure.
That's reassuring in a way to know you're not alone in those struggles.
Absolutely. And that's where lean thinking comes in. It can provide a framework, a way to approach those challenges and start getting a handle on things.
So it's not just about working harder, it's about working smarter.
Exactly. Lean is all about continuous learning and improvement. And a key part of that is focusing on the customer or the end user, making sure you're delivering value that truly meets their needs.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this could be really powerful. So lean is like a system for optimizing your work and getting better results.
You got it. And to make it even more digestible, 12Mprove has broken it down into these three core pillars: purpose, process, and people.
Purpose, process, people. It has a nice
So-
ring to it.
I know, right? It's almost like a lean mantra. So let's break those down a bit, starting with purpose. What does that really mean in the context of lean?
Well, it's about really understanding what your customer needs and wants. It's about aligning all your efforts with those needs and having clear, measurable goals. So you're not just busy working, you're working on the right things.
It's about being intentional and strategic,
Right.
right? Making sure you're focusing your energy on what truly matters to your customer.
Exactly. That's purpose in a nutshell. Then you have process, which is all about streamlining how you work and eliminating anything that doesn't add value. 12Mprove calls these wastes, and they can really sneak up on you.
Wastes. Like what I'm picturing actual garbage here.
Yeah.
Help me out here.
Not quite. We're talking about wasted time, effort, resources, things that are slowing you down or preventing you from being as efficient as possible. The guide highlights 8 different types of waste, and we'll definitely dive into those more later. But just as a quick example, think about having to correct administrative errors.
Yeah, I've definitely been there, spending time fixing something that should have been done right the first time.
Exactly. That's a classic example of waste. Or think about a jam-packed email inbox. It's basically a backlog of tasks just screaming for attention.
Okay, that one hits close to
Oh,
home.
yeah.
My inbox is a bit of a black hole sometimes. So if those are the wastes, how does lean actually help us get rid of them?
Well, that's where the power of the process pillar comes in. Lean provides a framework for analyzing your workflow, pinpointing those areas of waste, and figuring out how to eliminate or at least minimize them.
Okay, I'm starting to see the light here.
Ro-
But what about the people pillar? It seems like any system is only as good as the people running it.
Absolutely. You're spot on. And that's why the people pillar is so crucial. It's all about empowering employees and creating a culture where everyone is constantly striving for improvement. It's not just about top-down directives. It's about giving people ownership and encouraging them to be a part of the process.
That sounds like a much more sustainable and engaging approach. Creating a work environment where people feel valued and motivated to contribute. So how do we actually make that happen? What are some tangible steps we can take to build that culture of continuous improvement?
12Mprove talks a lot about this concept called Kaizen, which basically means change for the better. It's all about embracing continuous improvement through these small incremental changes.
Kaizen. I like that. It sounds a lot less intimidating than trying to overhaul an entire system overnight.
Yeah.
But how do you actually put that into practice?
It's more about building it into your daily practices and your mindset. The guide actually outlines 6 specific steps in the Kaizen method. You start by clearly defining the problem, then you measure the current situation, then you analyze what's causing the problem. You brainstorm potential solutions, you implement those solutions, and finally, you check and standardize the solution so it sticks.
Those steps seem really practical. And what I love about this is that it feels like it could apply to any problem, not just work-related ones. Could I use this to finally declutter my overflowing closet?
Absolutely. Lean thinking can be applied to almost any aspect of your life. That's what makes it so powerful. It's not just a set of tools, it's a way of thinking and approaching challenges.
I'm already feeling inspired to get more organized. But let's say someone wants to implement Lean in their work. Where do they even begin? It can feel a little daunting.
Well, luckily, 12Mprove specializes in making Lean accessible and actionable. They have this fantastic resource called the Lean Green Belt Training, which is specifically designed to give people the knowledge and skills they need to lead successful improvement projects.
And they've trained over 7,500 people in this. It sounds like they know what they're doing.
They definitely do. One of the things that's really cool about their training is that it's not just theory, it's very hands-on. They have this supportive learning environment, a mix of online and in-person training. You even get to put your skills to the test during practical days. Plus, you walk away with an internationally recognized certification.
That's impressive. And knowing that it's led by Remco and Robert, who are so passionate about Lean and have so much experience, makes it even more appealing.
Definitely. If you're serious about embracing lean thinking, 12Mprove is a great resource. And I think it's important to remember that continuous improvement is a journey. It's not a destination. It's about constantly learning, adapting, and striving to be better.
I love that perspective.
Yeah.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I think we need to circle back to those 8 types of waste. I'm really curious to explore each one in more detail and see if I can spot them lurking in my own life.
Sounds like a plan. Think of them as efficiency gremlins hiding in plain sight.
I'm ready to banish them from my life. Give me the first one.
All right, waste number 1 is waiting. And this one's a classic time waster. You're working on a project, and you're stuck waiting for feedback from a colleague or approval from a manager. Your work is essentially stalled, and that time is just lost. 12Mprove really emphasizes that every minute you spend waiting is a minute that you're not adding value.
Ugh, I feel that I've definitely spent countless hours just twiddling my thumbs, waiting for things to move forward. It's like hitting the pause button on productivity.
Well, what's the next villain on our list?
Number 2 is correction. This is all about rework. Having to fix errors or defects that could have been avoided in the first place, it's like taking 2 steps back for every 1 step forward.
Oh, I can picture it now. Spending hours crafting the perfect presentation, only to discover a bunch of typos or incorrect data at the last minute. Talk about frustrating. And not to mention a huge waste of time and effort. Okay, give me waste number 3. Number 3 is motion. And this one's about unnecessary movement. Not the exercise kind, though. Think about walking across the office multiple times a day to grab supplies, or searching endlessly for files, or constantly switching between different computer programs. All that extra movement really adds up and eats into your precious time.
So it's about creating a more streamlined and ergonomic workspace. Everything you need is within reach, and you're not wasting time on unnecessary back and forth.
You got it. Now let's move on to number 4, overprocessing.
Overprocessing. What exactly does that entail?
This waste happens when we go above and beyond what's actually required, Like spending hours creating a super detailed report when a simple summary would have done the trick, or adding all these extra features to a product that no one really asked for or needs. It's about doing more than what's necessary to meet the customer's needs.
So it's about finding that sweet spot between delivering exceptional value and not getting bogged down in unnecessary detail.
Yeah, exactly. Now brace yourself for waste number 5, overproduction. 12Mprove really hammers home the point that this one can be a major drain on resources.
Overproduction, I have a feeling this is a biggie.
You're right. Overproduction is all about creating more than what's needed, or creating it too early. Think about a company producing thousands of units of a product when they only have orders for a few hundred. That leads to excess inventory storage costs and potentially even obsolete products that no one wants.
It's like over-preparing for a party that no one shows up to. All that extra food going to waste. Okay, what's next on our lean waste hit list?
Waste number 6 is transportation. And this one focuses on the unnecessary movement of things, whether it's physical products or even information.
Okay, so this could be anything from inefficient delivery routes to sending massive email attachments when a simple link would do.
You got it. Now for number 7, we have a slightly less obvious type of waste. Talent.
Talent as waste. That sounds almost counterintuitive. Help me understand this one.
Imagine you have this highly skilled graphic designer, but they're spending most of their time on administrative tasks instead of using their creative talents to, design amazing visuals. That's talent being wasted. It's about making sure people are in roles that allow them to use their skills and strengths to their fullest potential.
It's like having a master chef flipping burgers. They might be good at it, but their true potential is being wasted. Okay, on to the last one.
And finally, we have waste number 8, inventory. Now, having some inventory is essential, but having too much can be a real problem.
I always thought having a lot of inventory was a good thing. What's wrong with having a stockpile of products ready to go?
Well, excess inventory ties up capital, it requires storage space, and it increases the risk of damage or obsolescence. 12Mprove gives the example of a company having warehouses full of products that aren't selling. It's a classic case of too much of a good thing turning into a liability.
So it's about finding that sweet spot, having enough to meet demand without overstocking and incurring all those unnecessary costs?
Exactly. Now that we've exposed these 8 wastes, let's shift gears and talk about how to actually combat them.
I'm all ears. I'm already feeling inspired to declutter my workspace and optimize my workflow. Where do we start?
Well, remember that 12Mprove's Lean Greenbelt training provides a really comprehensive toolkit for mastering these techniques. But even without the formal training, there are things that we can start doing right now to apply these principles.
Okay, that's encouraging. I was starting to feel a little overwhelmed. So what's the first step on our lean journey?
The first step is awareness, becoming aware of these wastes and learning to spot them in our daily routines. Once we can identify them, we can start to analyze why they're happening and brainstorm solutions.
So it's like putting on those lean detective hats and becoming super observant of our workflows.
Exactly. Right, how these wastes might be hiding in plain sight.
Perfect. Give me some scenarios that will help me connect the dots.
All right. Imagine you're constantly checking your email throughout the day, getting distracted by every notification that pops up. That's motion, stealing your focus and preventing you from getting into that flow state.
Ouch. I definitely feel seen right now. I'm a chronic email checker. What about another example?
Let's say you're working on a project, but you're waiting for feedback from a colleague before you can proceed. That's a classic case of waiting, slowing down your progress.
Those examples are so relatable. It's amazing how these wastes can sneak into our work without us even realizing it. Give me another one.
Okay. Think about a situation where you spend hours creating a detailed report, but your manager only needed a quick summary. That's over-processing in action, doing more than what's necessary.
Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here. These wastes are everywhere. It's like they're hiding in plain sight. What about talent? Can you give me an example of how that waste might show up?
Imagine a marketing team with a brilliant writer, but they're stuck doing data entry tasks instead of, crafting compelling content.
Yeah.
It's talent not being utilized to its fullest potential.
That's a great example. It highlights the importance of playing to people's strengths and making sure they're in roles where they can truly shine.
Absolutely. Now let's consider inventory. Think about a company with a warehouse full of products that aren't selling. That's excess inventory tying up capital and potentially leading to losses.
Okay. These examples are really helping me grasp this concept of waste and how it can impact both individuals and organizations. What happens after we've identified these wastes? What's the next step in our lean transformation?
The next step is to get curious and ask why. Why are these wastes occurring? What are the root causes behind them? Are there systems or processes that are contributing to these inefficiencies?
It's like becoming a lean detective, right?
Yeah.
We have to gather the evidence and analyze the clues to understand the underlying causes of these wastes.
Exactly. And once we have a clear understanding of the root causes, we can start to develop solutions and implement changes to eliminate or at least minimize that waste.
This is where the magic of lean starts to happen, right? We're not just identifying problems, we're actively working to solve them.
Precisely. And remember, lean is about continuous improvement. It's not about reaching some state of perfection. It's about constantly seeking ways to do things better, smarter, and more efficiently.
That's such an empowering way to approach work and life in general. I'm feeling inspired to take a closer look at my own habits and see where I can reduce waste and boost my productivity.
That's fantastic. And remember, 12Mprove is a great resource if you want to delve deeper into lean thinking and really develop your skills. But even small changes can make a big impact.
This deep dive into the 8 wastes has been eye-opening. I'm already starting to see things in a new light. Now I'm really curious to explore the people pillar in more detail. How do we create that culture of continuous improvement and empower employees to embrace lean thinking? I have a feeling this is where the real transformation happens.
You're absolutely right. The people pillar is the heart and soul of lean transformation. It's about creating an environment where everyone feels valued, empowered, and engaged in that process of continuous improvement.
Let's dive into that right now. I'm eager to learn how to build a workplace where everyone's a lean champion. So we've talked about purpose and process, both super important on their own. But I feel like this people pillar is the secret sauce to making lean really stick.
You're absolutely right. It's one thing to put systems and processes in place, but if you don't have people on board and engaged, it's not going to work long term. 12Mprove really stresses this point. Lean isn't just a top-down thing. It's about building a culture where everyone feels empowered to contribute to continuous improvement.
Makes sense. But what does that actually look like? How do you go from, talking about empowerment to creating a workplace where everyone actually feels like a valued contributor?
Imagine a workplace where people aren't afraid to speak up when they see a problem or have an idea, where they feel comfortable suggesting new ways of working, even if it means challenging the status quo. That's the kind of environment that breeds real innovation and continuous improvement.
It sounds amazing. But creating that kind of open and collaborative culture, it takes more than just saying, hey, everyone, share your ideas. What are some concrete things leaders can do to foster this lean mindset?
12Mprove talks a lot about leading by example. Leaders who really embody those lean principles in their own work, it sends a powerful message. It's about walking the walk, not just talking the talk, and then creating systems that support that culture.
So it's not just about telling people to be lean. It's about living those values and creating an environment where those behaviors are encouraged and rewarded.
Exactly. And that means things like providing training and development opportunities. So everyone has the knowledge and skills to identify waste, analyze problems, and come up with solutions. It also means celebrating those wins, both big and small, to reinforce those positive changes.
So making lean a part of the DNA of the organization, not just a one-time initiative.
Exactly. It's an ongoing journey. And that brings us back to Kaizen, embracing those small, incremental improvements that add up over time.
Like the compound effect. Small, consistent actions leading to big results.
Exactly. And when you have a whole team embracing that Kaizen mindset, always looking for ways to do things better, the possibilities are endless.
It makes me think of those companies that have completely transformed themselves through lean. It wasn't just about implementing tools, it was about changing their entire culture.
And those cultural shifts, they don't happen overnight. It takes consistent effort, strong leadership, and a commitment to continuous improvement, but the results are worth it. Companies that really embrace lean see improvements in efficiency, productivity, customer satisfaction, employee engagement, even their bottom line.
Sounds like a win-win for everyone. And speaking of resources, we've mentioned 12Mprove's Lean Greenbelt training a few times. For our listeners who are ready to take that next step, what are some key takeaways about the program?
Well, it's led by Remco and Robert, who are not only experts in lean, but also incredibly passionate about helping others succeed. And the training itself is designed to be both comprehensive and practical. You'll learn the core principles of lean, how to identify and eliminate waste, how to implement those Kaizen improvements, and how to lead successful lean initiatives within your organization.
Sounds like a great foundation for anyone who wants to become a lean champion.
Absolutely. And it's not just theory. There's a big emphasis on hands-on learning. They provide a really supportive environment, a mix of online and in-person sessions. You even get to put your skills to the test during those practical training days. Plus, you get an internationally recognized certification.
Wow, this has been such a fascinating deep dive into the world of lean. It's definitely challenged my assumptions and inspired me to look at how I can apply these principles in my own work and life. What's one key takeaway you hope our listeners will walk away with today?
I think the biggest takeaway is that lean is more than just a set of tools or a methodology. It's a mindset. It's about constantly seeking ways to improve, to eliminate waste, to deliver more value. And that mindset can be applied to any area of your life.
That's powerful. So listeners, as you go about your day, challenge yourself to see the world through a lean lens. Where can you eliminate waste? How can you improve your processes? How can you contribute to a culture of continuous improvement?
And remember, you don't have to do it alone. 12Mprove is a great resource for anyone who wants to really dive into lean. They offer training, coaching, and a ton of knowledge to support you every step of the way.
That's right. Check out their website and social media to learn more. And until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep on diving deep.